Live from the Colorado Festival of Horror, Smurf here, and oh my God. At first, I have to toast. Because we have done toast with most everybody.
But you have to do that way.
Oh, look at this.
And you have to keep the eye contact.
That's going to put me in the bag faster than the wine. Lynn Lowry, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
I rarely get tongue-tied starstruck at this stage of the game. But my God, you are stunning. And I am such a huge fan. When you agreed to do the Colorado Festival of Horror, I was just beside myself. And I didn't know what I wanted to ask you, because your career, I still consider you one of the original Scream Queens. And do you feel that you fall into that role, or where do you think in the genre history that you fit, or would you like to fit?
You know, I've thought about the Scream Queen thing a lot, and I really haven't screamed a lot. I mean, I didn't scream in I Drink Your Blood.
Okay.
Because I was mute.
Right.
And the Crazies, I never really screamed.
No, but the Crazies was so freaking. Yes. That is, I mean, anyway, continue. And we'll come back to the Crazies.
I did scream in Shivers when I was being attacked. Oh, and I did scream in Cat People. But
such a weird film,
but you know, overall, I don't really. I think of myself more as just an actress that works in horror films.
Okay.
You know?
Have you been happy in horror? Because, I mean, have you ever wanted to, like, do other things? Or are you just happy where you're at?
Well, I mean, I did a lot of theater work in New York and in L.A., and so I did all kinds of different... there was rarely any horror on stage that they had at that point.
Behind the stage is where the horror was.
Yeah, it was, for sure. So... but as far as films go, you know, sure, I would love to do different kinds of things, but I've gotten to do like horror comedy, and I was in Guns of Eden last year, which is, you know, a different kind of film.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And I'm playing a cop, actually a captain of the police force in The Omicron Killer, which we're shooting next month in New York.
Oh.
So I'm, you know, kind of branching out here, you know, which is great. Exciting.
Is. So, I know you probably get all focused on the Crazies, and I'll only touch on it for a moment. But it's such, I mean, did that film creep you out making it, or I mean, what was like the vibe, or what went into that film?
You know, the only thing that really creeped me out in that film was when Richard Liberty, who played my father, had to attack and rape me.
Right.
And that, and Richard and I had become so close, not just as friends, but kind of like this father-daughter sort of relationship.
Right.
And so when that scene happened, it was really kind of realistic. And it was, you know, very scary and disturbing at that moment, you know. But, you know, we were both actors, and we knew, you know, what we were doing and what the limitations were.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yes, it is a very disturbing film for sure.
What are some of the qualities that you look for when you're choosing films? Because I would think at this point have your pick and choose of what you want to do.
You know, a big part.
Okay. It helps to get the cheddar, doesn't it?
No, I like a challenging role, you know, but I do like a big part. But a challenging role is great, you know, and I've gotten to do quite a few of those, you know, recently. And
what's your favorite one? What do you enjoy the most?
Oh, Model Hunger.
Oh.
Yeah, that's my favorite role. I play a schizophrenic Southern Belle serial killer cannibal. So, and she's funny. And
put that on a business card.
And she's charming.
Well, of course, because, I mean, if you're going to eat someone, you might as well do it Anthony Hopkins style, and just, you know, be
so, but she's Southern, you know, so she's got that very Southern kind of quality about her, like, hello, you know, that kind of thing.
Here you go.
So,
just,
you know.
Bow down.
So I love playing that role, and I'm the star of that film with Tiffany Shepard. She's very good in the film, and
actually we've had Tiffany on the show before. Her and Jeffrey Riddick.
Debbie Rochon directed.
Yes.
So I loved that. That was like great, because I worked on those kind of roles since I was 16. So to get to do that kind of Southern thing and just make it a serial killer, you know, that was great to do that.
What age did you start?
Well, I mean, professionally, my first acting job was when I was 18 in summer stock.
Right.
And I worked with John Belushi in summer stock and had my first joint with him, actually. So,
you know, this is my surprise face.
so that was my first, you know, but I've been performing in high school, grade school,
right.
you know, since I was like 3. I was like, you know, wanted to perform.
Of course.
So,
the audience,
all my life.
get the jazz. Of course.
Yeah.
What was it like working with Belushi?
He was very rebellious. He was 16. He was 16. I was actually 17. And he, you know, wouldn't sleep in the dorm. He had his own tent and he had a motorcycle and he was very, you know.
He was out there.
He was very kind of wild.
Because I think this was before he did like all his comedy stuff, and he was still finding himself. Wasn't
he
it?
was just very, very young, you know, just getting into it. He played Cardinal Woolsey in Anne of a Thousand Days, and he played the killer in 10 Little Indians that I was in with him.
Right.
So, but he was great to work with, though. Real fun.
So, killer or victim? Where do you feel the most comfortable? What do you enjoy doing the best?
Oh, I much prefer to do the killer. The killer is so fun, so fun. The victim is always bloody and screaming and crying and running and all
out of
that.
breath, right? I mean, I'm
and,
watching these films and I'm like winded, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't do. I just die. Just kill me.
I mean, I used to do that when I was younger. You know, run and you know all that. No, I can still do the victim.
I absolutely believe that, but I don't want to run any more than necessary.
No.
Be strategic.
But the killer has, I think, more subtext. You know, why are they a killer, and how do they kill, and you know, there's more questions and things that I think make that character more interesting than just, you know, the kind of victim that's just like, you know, happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you know, kind of thing. So. You know.
How many movies have you done at this point? I mean, I was trying to scroll through, but I was, wow.
You know, I meant to count them because I'm getting a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Shawnee Film Festival in Massachusetts.
Right.
And so I wanted to mention how many I had done. And so I was going to go to IMDb and count them all, but I didn't. So I think it's about 90, maybe 100, something like that. So.
Is there one that you look back and you're like, God, that one was a mistake? Or was there one that you're like, I wanted to do this differently and I didn't do it?
You know, I used to be very critical of my work, but
I think as we all are.
But I kind of learned that, you know, it is what it is at the moment, and I do a lot of prep for my work. And so, sure, sometimes I look back and say, oh, I could have done that moment better, or, you know, something, whatever. But, you know, for the most part, I don't really regret doing anything that I did. I mean, I did 2 art films, you know, Sugar Cookies and Score.
Right.
And a lot of nudity, you know, in them. And, you know, I did them because I thought that it would be a learning experience, and I get like a lot of film, you know, on myself, and it would be, you know, help me to go to the next level.
Elevate the game, as it were.
Right. So, you know, I mean, everything. I mean, of course, I didn't think Score would turn out to be 30 years later a porno. I might not have done it had I known that.
Going in, right, you're like, well, I probably should have rethought that one.
Because Radley Metzger told me that it would not be that. It would be R-rated. And then he filmed the men, of course, having hardcore sex.
Right.
And so I don't honestly think that the last version works, because the men are having hardcore sex and Claire Wilbur and I are barely speaking to each other. And so, you know, it's like the two just don't like mesh, you know.
No, the editing is not where it needs to be on that.
But do I regret it? No. It was fabulous to work with Radley and to go to Yugoslavia, and, you know, I always look at the Right. And I think
positive
it's
side.
very funny that I'm in a porno.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's like one of the things that it was like, it just doesn't fit. I mean, you're very
No.
elegant and ladylike, and to like think that you're like, what? No. But I mean, to be honest, like a lot of, I mean, we've been going back and forth on this, but the innuendos and like nudity, it's just kind of like part of the horror genre back then, especially between like the 70s and 80s. That was the formula. You know, we had like the slasher death, and then 15, 20 minutes in, somebody lost their shirt, and then we moved in.
Right.
So knowing that, and were you ever uncomfortable, or were there moments you were just like, I don't think I want to do this?
I was only uncomfortable in sugar cookies because it was so total nudity, which I didn't like. But you know, after you've been on set for a few hours, nobody cares.
No, the shock value's done.
You know, they cover you. You know, the crew steps over you, you know, to get to the light.
Well, you just put your robe on already.
Yeah, really, they don't, you know. So you kind of really, it's like a freedom thing too with your body. I mean, you really, you know, kind of grow as a person, and you're not, you know, you're free, you know, about that kind of thing. But
has there been a director or a writer that you've wanted to work with that you've missed the opportunity, or that you're still trying to make that connection with?
I'd love to work with Marcel.
Yes.
Actually. And I had an opportunity which, I have to look that back up, but a couple of years ago he contacted me and he asked me to do some kind of a support for something. And of course it wasn't in his film or anything like that, and I was like really, really busy at the time, and you know, I said, I'm really sorry, but I just don't have time to do that right now, and I'm really sorry I didn't do that because you know, obviously I haven't seen Blind yet, but I'm going to see it tonight, and I've heard he's a wonderful director, and I would love to work with him, you know, on something in the future.
Yeah, because we had the crew of Blind on earlier, and I mean, the stories and everything that they got going on is just spectacular. And they still have the third film to shoot. You don't know yet.
No, I'm going to actually contact him and say, hey, I just saw Blind. Hey, here I am.
I would be happy to make the introductions. We'll go down. I'll just like, Lynn Lowry, put her in.
Please.
Yeah, like they're gonna listen to me.
Any kind of help is great.
This is true. Any leg in you can get. So what else do you have coming up? What kind of projects are on the horizon that we need to keep an eye out for Lynn Lowry?
I did a werewolf film called Wolf Hollow.
We were just talking about that there's not like a whole lot of werewolf films lately, and there needs to be.
So, and I played this glamorous movie star who's kind of over the hill, but she agreed to do this film with this film company.
Right.
And we're out like in the woods, and she's like so pretentious, and they're all like real people.
Betty Davis.
I know, she's very Betty Davis. And she's like, I'm here, you know, and she's, you know, so that I'm excited about that because it's a great, you know, great part. And I did a great scene with Eric Roberts this year.
Worked with Eric. He's so fun to work with. He is nothing like I expected because we've done a couple of productions
Very
here.
nice.
He is.
Played his wife.
And well, at least with me and like a couple of other people that were filming, he was coaching us. He's like, no, you need to do this and do that, and it's like such a genuine role for him. It comes very natural.
Yeah.
And you were his wife.
His wife, yes.
Did he have directions for you?
Well, he just said, get that woman out of those high heels because first of all, they don't fit, and I'm going to push her, and she needs to have her balance. So I thought, okay.
Wow.
Because he was right. They didn't fit, and he pushed me hard because I'm supposed to fall out the window, and so yeah. So that's coming out. Altered Perceptions. Jorge Amir directed that.
Okay.
And then I've got Fang. That's a big one. Fang was directed by Richard Bergen, and I play a woman with Parkinson's.
Oh, okay.
Who is very nasty and crazy, and she is driving her son literally to the point where he thinks he's becoming a rat, and it's a very dark there's some humor, but it's a very disturbing kind of film.
Oh,
So I'm very excited about that.
That's
So
exciting.
yeah, I have lots of things coming out. So
I'm excited to hear that. What's the best set or most exotic location that you've been able to shoot in, or really take advantage of?
I would say probably besides Yugoslavia.
Right, because that would have been the architecture alone.
Yeah, Montreal, Canada, where I did Shivers.
Really?
That was very exciting to do that. We had lots of duck under glass and, all kinds of exotic food. And of course, working with Cronenberg.
Right, oh yeah.
That was quite
He's
exciting.
very eccentric.
Very. And I love, my favorite moment of any moments I've ever done in any film is that moment where I come up out of that swimming pool and I turn and you see it's me and I start walking towards the doctor,
right?
And to give him the parasite. And I love that moment because it's so kind of sexual.
It's very intimate.
But very intimate and very disturbing and evil. And there's so many things going on. And I love that moment. So
when you came out of the water, it is, wow. How many shots did it take to get that? Because it looked like, seamless on the screen, but that had to be a nightmare to shoot.
I don't think that me coming up out of the water took very long.
Right.
Because it was just me and I get things pretty quick.
Right.
But when everybody jumps into the pool, because they were all just like people that live there and swimming toward us, and that was kind of scary because they're all surrounding you and you're kind of in the deep end.
Right.
And, so that we had to do that a few times, but other than that, it was not difficult.
So awesome. So what is the best way to follow you? How do people keep up with Lynn Lowry out there in the world?
I'm on Facebook.
Okay.
You can contact me there. I'm also, I used to have a website, but it got hacked, so
That's
I don't have
that
that
anymore. That's kind of like the
anymore.
running theme right now, because one of our other guests was talking about they lost complete control, even the monetized aspect, and they're like,
Right.
it's not me running it.
Yeah. So, I give my email address, lynnlowry@sbcglobal.net. You can contact me there. You can say hi. I'm right now I have the cat people things that I'm, selling and stuff. And, it's great.
Isn't Cat People coming up on an anniversary, or is...
I think it is kind of an anniversary.
Because I remember watching that, and that film was just Nastasia Kaczynski, if I'm not mistaken. That whole film was just so well done, and when they told you the prospect and the idea of the film, what did you think? Or you're just like, I don't get it?
Well, it was actually pretty calm compared to Shivers.
That's very true. Can't argue that.
The only bad thing about it was that I had to fall down the stairs so many times, and I got really hurt doing that, and it wasn't my,
Sacrifice for the art.
Yeah. But I have to say, my favorite fun film was I Drink Your Blood, because the drugs were far out, man. The cows spoke to you. That was great. And that was my first time to experience anything like that. So,
well, you
lots
did
of fun.
smoke a joint with Belushi.
I did.
That's
true.
That's up there for me, because I would love to have just spoken to the man. I can only imagine, getting a little baked. What's your best death scene, do you think, that you're this is...
Gosh, I have so many death scenes. I do like my death scene in Torture Chamber.
Okay.
Where I am tied to a rack and pulled apart by these kids. And so I'm screaming.
Of course.
And, everything. And I've been stabbed and poisoned and choked and wires around my neck and just gosh, so many things. Oh, but my really favorite one is, of course, in The Crazies.
Yes.
Because it's such a poignant moment, and she's so childlike and almost curious. And of course, I fought George on that because I wanted to do a big death scene.
And I think honestly think your character earned a bigger death scene.
So I wanted to die big,
Yes.
you know, and scream and be dragged across the field holding onto the soldier's leg. And George said, no, I just want you to say, oh. And I was like, oh no. That is so lame.
So that was just his idea
Oh
then?
yes, he totally didn't want me to do anything else but just spin to the camera and say, oh. And I was so disappointed. But it is such a memorable moment. And you couldn't follow the rape scene with my father with something bigger.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, that was the crescendo.
It had to be something different. And so he knew that, and it was a very wonderful moment.
Romero is very skilled at his storytelling and his craft. And I hope to, you know, Romero is amazing.
Yes. And missed.
And yes, greatly missed. And you don't know how to like do proper tribute to somebody like that who had such vision and such storytelling skills. Yeah. And I can only hope that maybe one day, you know, getting to somebody close that just like that. I think our time is about done.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I could sit and talk with you for hours, Lynn.
I have so many stories.
And what's your favorite story? What's the one story you like to tell that you never get to?
Oh, gosh. Well, when I was doing score, and Mary, not Mary, that was Mary Warnoff, and Claire Wilbur and I were in bed together, and she hated me. Radley gave me amyl nitrate. And of course, you know, your
yeah,
it just explodes. And then I messed her hair all up because I was so high at that moment. And of course, then she hated me even more than that.
Well, but you're the prettier one, and you
I was prettier, I was younger, but she's gorgeous in the movie.
She is.
She's gorgeous. And she was in the off-Broadway show, and she's hysterical.
But I can just imagine you just reaching over and go,
I did. But just out of passion, you know, not to be mean.
No, but that's spectacular.
So, but that was the only time that I had that on the, you know,
the one and only
set. Well, the one and only on score.
Who's the one actor that you always wanted to work with and you never had the chance?
Brad Pitt.
Really?
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah, I'd love to work with Brad Pitt. I think he's great.
Have you seen Bullet Train yet?
I have not.
I've read the book. The book is spectacular, and I'm hoping if they capture even a portion of that book in the film, that it would be spectacular to watch.
I think he's a very he's not appreciated enough. I think he's a wonderful actor.
We got people. Vadim, get on that, will you? Well, Lynn, thank you so much for sitting in. I'm excited to see what you've got coming in the future. Thank you so much for coming to Colorado Festival of Horror. Everybody give her a like, give her a share, give her a like and a share.
And cheers.
And cheers. Salud. Ching ching. Run fast, laugh hard, and drink lots of wine. Good night.
Good night.